Today in our 2005 Chevrolet Avalanche, we're going to be showing you how to install the Roadmaster Universal High-Powered Diode Kit for towed vehicles. Part number is RM-152. Here's what our wiring is going to look like on the front of the vehicle. Now, this is going to give us the solution for being able to control the lights in our car from our motorhome. This gives us our running light circuit. It's going to give us our left turn and brake circuit and our right turn and brake circuits. So as we're pulling our Avalanche, as we operate the controls in our motorhome, they're going to transfer through and we'll see them on the back of the truck. So what this is going to allow us to do is get a signal coming in from the motorhome through our diode and a signal coming in from our truck to go through our diode. Now the great thing about the diode is that this is going to prevent any backfeeding. So as our signals are coming in from the vehicle, they can't run back our other wire. And the same thing can be said as they're coming from our coach. They're not going to cycle back in and backfeed into the vehicle's wiring harness. So this is going to give us a great solution to isolate the motorhome from the vehicle, but to keep everything working properly. Here you'll see our installation bracket that we've put on and the wiring that we ran when we had the bumper and the grille removed from the truck. Now, we used two long brackets, which are part number 18136, and those just got attached with a 1/2-inch bolt to a flange sticking off the back of the bumper. To that, we added on a bracket. This is from Roadmaster. It's designed to work with their 4-pole round plug. That part number is RM-91003-5, and this is part number RM-91003-1. This is going to be a standard 4-pole round. Basically, we'll be attaching this to this. And we do want to get these wires separated here. You see they're just going to pull apart. And let's strip the end of each one of those back slightly. Now right on top of our plug, there's going to be a small Phillips screw. We want to get that removed. Our center core here, it's going to pop out. Now these will feed through the back of our plug. Now only one side of this is going to have that little nut molded in. That needs to go up. So if we rotate that over, see our 4 connection points here that we'll be making. Those little screws are designed to thread down in there and make good contact with that wire. We want to get all 4 of these loosened up. Now we're going to connect our wire into the corresponding location on the back side of our plug. We're going to do the white in the lower left. The brown's going to be in the lower right. Yellow is going to go to the upper left. And green's going to go to the upper right. Just be placed in like that, and then those screws tighten down to engage that wire and hold it in place. You don't really need to over tighten them or anything, but you will want them to be secure. Now once we've got our system tested out, we are going to be filling the back side of that plug with black sealant. Just prevents any water from getting in there. That's eventually causes corrosion and leads to our signals malfunctioning. Now we'll just need to slide our plug housing down, and we'll push it in so that screw hole lines up with the nut molded in, and we'll thread that in. All right, now once we get out of the engine bay there, I like to run along with the frame rail. It'll just keep everything up and out of the way. We won't have to worry about it ever kind of hanging down or anything like that. And of course, anywhere you get the opportunity, you'll want to throw a zip tie on it, give it some additional support. And once we get back to this area, I'm going to separate the white wire. You can do that just by pulling it off there. We're actually going to be grounding it out here to our frame. The extra wire that we cut off, hang on to that. We're probably going to need it to create the jumper in the rear. And we're going to strip that back, and we're going to add on the provided blue ring terminal. Now the provided self-tapping screw is what we'll use to secure that right off to our frame there. You just want to make sure you can wiggle on that without it moving. That'll be nice and secure. Now we'll continue running our 3 wires on back. All right, now once we get back to the rear of the vehicle here, it's time to separate the green wire from the yellow and brown. The pigtail here on the rear, we're going to follow along with that. We're going to send this wire right up through that gap right there. That'll allow us to get up there behind our taillight housing where we'll be putting in those diodes. Now we'll just tuck that wire up in there. Once we have that tail light out, we should be able to reach down there and grab it. All right, now we're going to take out the two Phillips screws. I have one in the top and one in the bottom that hold our taillight lens in place here. Let's see if we can gently pull on that. There's our yellow and brown wire waiting for us. And now we know this is going to be the reverse light because it's got the clear signal on it. What we need to determine now is which one of these wires on the back side are for our running lights and which one's going to be for the turn signal. All right, so we'll have someone in the vehicle give us a hand here and we'll have them turn on our running lights. All right, looks like we've got that on the low side and on the high side. Let's check our left blinker. That's going to be down here, and that off, and our brakes. That's going to be our upper one. So we're going to use the lower one here for our running light signal. We'll use the upper one for our blinker and brake. We should be in good shape there. So let's check for the running light on the bottom one here. Just using a test light, we'll have that ground out. And turn those running lights off, please. And back on. All right, so that'll be that middle wire right here. And it looks like that used to be brown. And now the brakes, please. So we're gonna be checking for that signal in that bulb. Start with our blue wire. And off, back on. All right, blue wire for our brakes. That'll take care of the driver's side. I'm gonna remove the housing just by twisting our plugs out. They'll have that little tab right there. You press that tab down and they're going to rotate right out of there. And we'll get this set aside and we'll run the same test on our passenger side to determine which wires we need to use there. All right, now you see we separated our wires out here. I've also zip tied them off right here to the wiring that comes up, just so that way when we have everything installed, it'll kind of be as one unit there and we won't have to worry about it hanging down below the vehicle. Let's trim off our excess here. It's okay to leave plenty of slack. Our diodes are going to be mounted kind of over in this area, so you want to be sure you have at least enough to get there. Now we're using the lower light for our running light signal. And remember when we found that, that was the brownish wire. Now as you do this, just cut the insulation around there. You don't want to cut the wiring. So we're going to snip that off about right here. So we'll strip back both ends of that as well as our brown wire we just brought up. Now, 3 of our diodes are going to have 3 blue connectors on it. One of them has the yellow connector there. That's what we're going to use to create our jumper to go over to the other side. Remember that white wire we cut off earlier? We're going to use that to make that connection. So I'm just going to stick that down in there. We'll strip the end of this back. Brown wire that comes from the front of the vehicle and our white wire, we'll twist those together and we'll add on that one yellow spade connector, just like that. You want to give them a good pull, make sure they're connected properly, and we'll take our 2 blue ones there and we're going to connect those onto our factory wires. Now we'll take the running light signal in from the front, which is our brown wire. That needs to go in one of our inputs. The other wire coming from our factory harness will go into the other input. And then the connection that runs out to the light, that's going to go on our output side. Now for our upper light, we're going to be using for our turn and brake. That's going to be the blue wire. And we're going to repeat the exact same process that we just used for our brown wire, with the exception of just using 3 of the blue spade connectors this time. Now just like we did on the other diode, we want the inputs from the car and the motorhome to go on the in, and the out, that's going to go to our bulb. All right, now we're going to get this mounting area cleaned off here with some rubbing alcohol. That'll make sure that we get really good adhesion as we put our diodes into place. All right, now to get these back in place, we want to rotate them until they clip in and then spin them just like that. Looks like right up there is going to be the location for our first diode. Now it's going to be pretty tight in here. To get in and service this, you can see how this is going to tilt out pretty good, but once we stick this off to that panel, you'll have to pull the wire out of the top to lean your light out. There's really not any other way to get around that. All right, now we're going to run our green wire, which is our right turn and brake signal, and our white wire, which is our running light signal. Remember, we jumped that off. If you were going to keep everything color correct, this would be an extension of the brown wire. Now to test out our system, we're going to want to connect to our motor home or trailer tester and run through all of the lights. Let's start with our running lights. Now we'll check our left blinker, our right blinker, and our brakes. All right, everything there is working fine. There's going to be one last test that we need to run, and that will be to verify whether or not we're going to need to put in a brake light relay. All right, now we're going to operate the left blinker to run this test, and we'll have someone in the car press on the brake. You'll see how that has stopped flashing. That indicates to us that we do need a brake light relay. By putting the silicone in here, we're just going to prevent any moisture, or at least to help prevent any moisture from getting in here. All right, now we'll take our provided hardware. I'm going to place that right through our bracket there. And we'll secure it with that nylon lock nut that goes on the back side. Tighten it down. We'll need a Phillips screwdriver and also a 10mm wrench to get into our nut on the back side. Now all we'll have to do is plug in our 4-pole round wiring. Allow that door to come down, hold it in place. And now anytime we use our running lights, our brakes, or our blinker in our motorhome, we're also going to see them on the back of the Avalanche. That's going to complete our installation of the Roadmaster Universal High Power Diode Wiring Kit, part number RM-152 on our 2005 Chevrolet Avalanche.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at eTrailer.com.